Rick O'Brien. I'm the president of SemperCon. And SemperCon basically means like Semperfi, SemperCon, always connected. And that's really what we're all about. We've been building connected web and mobile and IoT applications for the last 8 years. And today we're here to talk about one of our clients who we nominated for the Impact Awards, which is Go to Power. And I'll tell you a little bit more about their emergency lighting systems. Their president, Guy Tripla, who's the founder and president and chief engineer at Go to Power, came to us and said, we want to connect up our units to the internet. What should we do? And our advice to them was, it's a step-by-step process. Let's sit down and map out what you want to do, get the devices connected, and then you can worry about adding services and cashing in on the big data going forward. But we got to get things started in the beginning, get a firm foundation. And to do so, we recommended them using our own platform, which is our SemperCon smart device platform. And this is it's a very unique platform. It gives you the core building blocks to get a jump start on building your application. But it's also one of the only, I think, the only application platform, IoT platform that you can actually own. We offer a source license relationship, so you're not paying a SaaS model application forever. You own it, you're building it, you're collecting IP, you're building on your own intellectual properties for your company and your value. So we sat down, and the SemperCon platform, just like I said, it handles the basic blocking and tackling type of things. Device management, you connect up a device. Administrator, who gets access to that particular device? Who gets to see that data? Where's that data go? Dashboards, how do I want that dashboard? Everybody has their own particular parameters they want to display and how they want to visualize it. Customized alerts, again, every system is unique in what is important for them to follow on a regular basis. And we have an open standard back end, so we can pull in any advanced analytics package, reporting package, anything you need as you need it, we can pull it into the system. So the Go to Power equipment is really it's an uninterruptible power supply. You connect up the main. When the power goes down, it kicks in and lights all the exit paths for the prescribed 90 minutes. That's the fire code. And it's the classic data silo. I mean, these things have been around for a long time. They sit in a back room somewhere. The only way you can get to them is physically go to them. And when you get to it, the real challenge is, this is the interface. You have a little 2x6 dot matrix display, a couple lights, and a couple buttons. And we're trying to transform all this into a fully interactive web application. So the solution really is to use the SemperCon platform to leverage it and to jumpstart the application and build a customized web app that works for their system. So we sat down with Guy and with the team at Go to Power, and we said, well, what do you really want to accomplish? Give me some meaningful ROI objectives that we can shoot at for this first iteration. And they said, we want to have online configuration. So when we send an electrician out to install it, we don't have to be there. They just turn it on, we can configure it, and go from there. They wanted to give online access to customers. Customers can buy multiple units. At a large office park, there may be a dozen units in there. They can access all of them from one panel now. Automated testing, you have to do monthly testing of your batteries in these systems and be able to prove to the fire marshal that you did the monthly testing. So they automated some of the record testing. And then remote troubleshoot. If a battery goes out, they want to know that the battery is going out. Which one? What is the problem before you send a repairman out there? So device management, again, I'll go through these quickly. It's just, the equipment is sold. They get a unique ID. The unique ID is entered. That enters them into the system. We set up the administrative interface, and this is very customizable if you have regional support networks, or it all depends on how the customer wants to access that information. In the case of Go to Power, they have two separate brands that they sell under, and each of these brands have separate sales forces. So they needed to divide it up and have access for all these different types of customers. And the dashboard, again, in this case, the main parameters are system temperature. High if it gets too hot, it damages the batteries. Of course, the battery voltages, you got to maintain that they're still there, and system voltage. And this tracks the key indicators for their particular system. And alerts and monitoring. Here, there's a large amount of different data points that they want to be able to track, and they can send email or text alerts as necessary to identify any kind of critical situations. So after we sat down with them, and it was about a 6-month design install. And they have now rolled it out. They've sold about 200 units across the United States. Customers are getting good, solid feedback. It's been helping them on the sales side. And now they're starting to get some feedback from the customers, getting to be able to eliminate the need for the tech at startup. The online access is a popular feature, especially for school districts and things like that. But overall, initial success. And now they're really taking that next step, and they have a lot to learn, because right now probably only about half of their units are actually even connected, because they have to educate their customers on why they need to connect them. So taking the second step and looking at some other recurring revenues, and down the road, if they want to do some further analytics and they want to predict when a battery will fail based on temperature, and they can analyze load characteristics, and tell them how many light bulbs might be out in a key exit path, which you can get fined for if you don't know. So those are the kind of things that are down the path as they start to learn more and more about the data that they're generating. That's basically any questions. It's fairly.
I got some questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first question is the insurance risk. You're obviously eliminating the big question about insurance risk. Why do you think your company's tool is better than other ways to make sure that hotels, dancing parlors, and factories are all properly maintained in terms of fire protection?
Well, it's not so much insurance risk as risk of fines from the local fire department if you don't adhere to the standards. But I mean, this is an instantaneous. If this goes down, they're going to get a text or an email immediately. Before you'd have to go to the unit and see that the light is flashing. So there was no real way to identify the issues that might have come up.
So you eliminated the old job where the guy that would go down to all the different points of fire protection, way up there, make sure it was processed. So now you just get a signal. Very good.
Exactly.
Do we have any questions? Dave? Hang on a second, Dave. I can't hear you.
I can hear.
Are you adding devices to the existing application? Like, I know they're doing, so the silo per se, the energy savings. Are they adding anything else to that? So do they have other objects that aren't connected in line with that?
I'm not sure exactly. In this case, in fact, I blew over it pretty quick there. In this case, they had an existing microcontroller board. It's an Atmega microcontroller board. We updated the firmware in order to have the full Ethernet stack, and they installed a Cat5 interface, and we've been mostly getting by on a straight Cat5 or a Wi-Fi router.
Yeah, I probably didn't explain that right. So you're integrating this into the safety lights. For instance, the requirement, I'm assuming, for the safety lights.
The way that this is a central inverter system, so the main power comes directly into this unit. And then it will normally just be passed through directly. But if the power goes down, then the battery system will take over all the lights that are designated for the battery backup portion. It's a little different than the ones where you see the emergency lights that are separate. These are the main lights that are in your building already. They're powered directly from the batteries.
So that's just one solution of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a central inverter system versus there's a lot of distributed systems in the emergency power area.
Yeah, so the other question on top of that would have been, so what in medical facilities, for instance, so they have emergency lights that have to stay on, but they have other equipment that has to stay on too. What if it's not connected to that system?
Oh, yeah, this is strictly lighting. Okay. This is strictly lighting. You've got the batteries are such that, 90 minutes is it. That's the law. You got to light the ingress, egress lanes for 90 minutes.